Hey guys, a little bit of a throwback. I did an interview with Chuck Thomas on Atlanta Film Chat. We're talking about the movie business. We're talking about life. We're talking about things that are going on here in the entertainment business in Atlanta. So check out the content. Hope you guys enjoy.
All right, so Chris, this has been a long time coming.
Yes.
And I'm glad we were finally able to do this.
Yep.
You've just been super busy, and then you got sick, which is very unfortunate. Yeah. And then you got more busy, but now you're here, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. And also, just walking through just thank you for the tour and everything. This place is awesome.
Yeah. One thing we're trying to do is make it more of experience, I guess. When you walk through the doors you guys came through, you see that little room that they just built. Mm-hmm. It's like there's that fake dog.
Yeah. Well, when we walked in, it was funny because like Dries opens the door. He's like, "Whoa!" And I backed up. I thought we were gonna get attacked. It was hysterical. The fake dog.
Yeah. Well, eventually that dog will not be there. Yeah. There will have like cool stuff like puppets and awards and stuff that we've won that you can go like, oh, these guys are cool. And then you come into the shop and be like, oh, yeah. So we're making it like a museum sort of.
That's awesome.
So we have enough stuff, as you can tell, to do that.
Yeah. No, it's super cool.
Yeah. Do you have any stuff like that at your office?
Well, we actually just moved offices. So we were on the perimeter in Atlanta, and we kind of outgrew it. Business is good.
Yeah,
we're growing. We're growing as a company, so we've been hiring a lot more people, and we actually found a pretty sweet place in historic Roswell on Canton Street. So we're pretty jazzed about that. So yeah,
nice.
Yeah. So we're still in the process of furnishing out the place and still waiting on some things. I got the projector in today, so we have a nice little screening room.
Yeah.
We got our green screen booth is set up, so we have our studio there. We've already built one set, so there's another show that we have that we're putting together about the film business in Atlanta.
Okay.
And then there's another side where we're building another set, and I do another show about just talking to business leaders and stuff like that too.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it's coming along. We're pretty excited about it, and it's been fun. It's been a fun ride.
And you mentioned the podcast. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that, since I like talking to other podcasters.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I do a show called Pitch Chris. So basically it's industry show where people ask questions about the entertainment business, and then I answer them. And it's a weekly show. So I have, people, they message in on Facebook and stuff like that, and they send in videos, and then we'll air them when we air the show, and then we convert the whole thing into a podcast. So you could actually, you can find it on any of my social media channels or YouTube, but then also it's on iTunes and all the other podcast platforms that are out there.
That's cool.
Yeah. So,
yeah. I've seen other filmmakers doing that. Like Tim Heidecker has office hours, I think he calls it, where he just asks people, ask questions about whatever. And I remember that reminds me, that was when what was it called? I think it was Vine. I tried on Vine when that. No, it wasn't Vine. It was one of the streaming things that it popped up for a while and it just died.
So podcast that.
No, it was just a live stream thing. I was like, yeah, you can talk to me, host of Atlanta Film Chat, like anybody cared.
Yeah.
Or as a screenwriter or whatever, like ask me questions. And I got a few. I remember I got a few people, but it wasn't, hopefully, I'm sure yours is much more successful than that was, because I was just kind of dabbling, like, do people care about this? And turns out, no, they don't care about me. So
I find is like it's content over time. It really is.
Yeah.
I think once you get going and you just push content out there all the time, and one of the big things that we do in our agency is we do personal branding and like CEO branding and founder branding. Like that's on the corporate side, because we work in the film business, but we also work with advertisers. And it kind of works well because we utilize the advertisers for funding movies. But one of the other products that we offer is personal branding. And when I tell a lot of these people, especially heads of companies and anybody, this is in the business too. If you're an above the line talent, you need to be branding yourself. And when you push content over time, you start building an audience. It's not something that happens overnight, especially people that are just starting out. It's something that you want to keep, creating and just keep pushing out as it builds on top of it. That's when you start really seeing results. It's I say it's a marathon, not a sprint. So, it's like a lot of people come to me and they're like, I just started this podcast and I don't have that many followers. I'm like, just stick it out. It's not a big deal. Just keep going at it.
Yeah. I guess it's been the philosophy of this show of 5 years of just doing it.
Awesome, though.
And I mean, the reason we started it in the first place was just to connect to people that I otherwise would never meet.
Right.
Because I'm a terrible networker.
Right.
I go to parties and sit in the corner and then I leave and not talk to anybody.
I'm not crazy about big crowds either.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So,
but this is like my networking thing. And, and it's turned into a thing that I've done for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And a screenwriter too is just keep. You write your first script and it's terrible or whatever, and you just cumulative effect of just working and now in a place where people pay me to write their scripts and stuff,
right?
Which is where I wanted to be, but it just took years of just writing over and over, like this is garbage, oh this is okay,
right?
And eventually like, oh, I think I'm getting there.
Yeah, it's just over time. You start learning, you start refining, and you're learning all the you're learning the tricks, of what works, what doesn't work, and listening to feedback. I think that's the biggest thing too. Is a lot of people, you got to listen to your audience. You have to listen to what's going on, in the marketplace and stuff like that too. Especially as as a writer, it's like. You gotta kind of know a little bit about production and and stuff like that too. It's good to constantly like refine your craft, and I think that's huge for anybody in any different position in film. Yeah.
We're supposed to shoot a feature film later this year, and Molly was asking, do you want to be on set? I was like, yes, because the more I'm on set and see how things are working. Right. And the mechanisms or whatever, like I learn how to write that better. Like the more time just being there.
I'm a huge advocate for no matter. I mean, we all have you all have your passion, your skill set, but it doesn't hurt to learn a little bit about all different fields in the film business. I mean, I started as an actor in front of the camera, and it's like. Once I started learning about like editing and just production stuff. Then it started, I started able to incorporating that in my acting. I was like, all right, now I know why I need to do this in a specific shot. I'm actually helping out the editing department when I'm holding, holding, in position on a certain line or something like that. That's the thing. It's like, don't just be a one pony show. Learn a little bit about everything. If and you never know. I mean, you may have, another end, where you're in front of the camera. You like to be in behind the camera too.
Yeah. So Agency 850.
Yeah.
What is the 850?
Sure. So the name of the company of how we started.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that we started in Florida, right? So we started in Northwest Florida, so the area code's 850. Okay. But there is a deeper meaning behind the company and everything that we do. So I like to leave that as a little bit of a mystery, and I'm sure people do enough digging that can find that out. But one of the biggest things for me is, I had a journey from New York to LA to Northwest Florida is where we opened the office. Mm-hmm. Grew it there, and we started actually as a digital ad agency. After I left LA, we were doing a lot of promotions for businesses. When I identified that there's another way to fund movies, and the other way is actually through product placement, product integration, and this other thing called branded entertainment, which is huge.
Yeah,
and like. We actually we started working with some local clients in Florida, and if you notice, like most reality shows, like there's a business involved. Dog the Bounty Hunter, American Picker, Storage Wars. There's a business, a functioning business.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's like a lottery ticket for a production company to come to you and say, "Hey, we want to do a show on your business." So what we can do as an ad agency is we create a television show around the business and then market it as advertising. And through connections, I've built relationships down in certain areas where I'm able to get spot TV like on ABC, CW, Fox, and start airing it. So what happens is instead of the business owner just having a 30-second spot, which most people skip through, they have a 30-minute series. And they're building a following, which we talked about earlier. Yeah. Building a following. Mm-hmm. So I uncovered branded entertainment with that, and that's actually how I, after I left LA, like that's how I got back into the business. And obviously, with the film business blowing up in Georgia, it's only a 4.5 hour drive from where we were in Florida.
Yeah.
We eventually moved our offices. We relocated to Atlanta. And so now, we're based here. And we've been doing, product placement and product integration. We do a lot of the key art. So like the movie posters and stuff like that, the designing, EPKs, there's electronic press kits, the BTS behind the scenes, stuff like that. So we've really been able to, be an organization that supports the entertainment business here. And then also too, I work as an EP, as an executive producer. So on the finance side, I work with advertisers and business owners and high net worth individuals to fund a lot of the projects and stuff that come to Atlanta, because we've moved there. I moved my entire staff here. We've got a lot of families that moved here. So I'm super passionate about really building and supporting the industry.
So what was the main difference moving from Florida to here? Like, you immediately noticed like a difference maybe in culture or something, or just drive or community or something like that?
Well, big difference, because Panama City Beach, Destin, like 30A area, like that's like people have second homes there. No one really, everybody from the city like has a second home there, so it's very like laid back. Totally different market. But I grew up in Jersey, and I started out. I went to school for film and television in Manhattan. So I'm not not familiar with the cities, and I lived in LA for 6 years. So it wasn't that big of a culture shock, the city and stuff like that. The traffic, I mean, the traffic is very comparable to the 405 in LA. So that wasn't too big of an adjustment for me. I'm like, this is really, it's very comparable. So, for me, it wasn't a hard transition or anything like that. I actually really love it here. I do, because you have everything, you have the big city. Right. You have the farther out you get, like, ITP, OTP. And for listeners that aren't from Georgia, that's inside the perimeter, outside the perimeter, right? Yep. The farther outside the perimeter you go, you actually, it's a little bit more country, which is kind of cool, a little bit more quiet. And then, I mean, like I mentioned before, if I want to go to the beach, I mean, you're 4 or 5 hours to the beach, on Destin or 30A or whatever, I mean, it's great. And we have the airport here. So like, I mean, shoot, if you wanted to go anywhere, you just hop on a flight and go to New York or LA, and it's easy,
So you're able to take, your corporate clients and you say you get the money from that and start making your own films. So like what kind of films are you looking to make? Shorts, features, everything, just something interesting, TV, whatever?
Yeah, exactly. So it is. It's all of that. So branded entertainment lends itself well to like reality shows, right? Because you're writing the show based around a business, right? Right now, I'm actually working on a project that has to do with esports. And
are you kidding? I just shot a TV show about esports.
Did you? Oh, sweet!
It was a docu-series.
Okay,
with some reality stuff in it. But,
cool.
I mean,
did you release it yet? Or?
Yeah. It just came out last week. Actually.
Oh wow! Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a huge industry. Most people don't realize it. And the thing is like it's growing and getting bigger. And so I'm excited to hear that, because there needs to be more content wrapped around this, because it's. The awareness is it's not where it should be, but it's growing. And here in Atlanta, like, I mean, you have teams moving to Atlanta, and it's just, it's really exciting. So anyway, so stuff like that, like, I mean, we do, branded entertainment. So I'll work with advertisers, to plug them into a TV show, whether it's, just a product that they have, or maybe it's location based, but I could also do that for movies as well. I finished up, a feature film. I was the EP on a project called Voices that we shot. And one of the things, like, I had, like product placement in there where, our lead character was blind, and the whole object, it was a supernatural like horror film, right? So she hears the voices of dead people.
Okay.
The only way she can tune them out is if she wears headphones.
Okay.
So what I did was I actually found Grado Labs, which is out of New York, and I told them about the project, and I actually got them to to insert their product. So stuff like that, like I'll do that. Like I'll go through a script. I'll be able to identify. We have relationships with a lot of advertisers all over the country, and the right project comes along, we're able to connect those advertisers with the script, which offsets production costs, right? I mean, there's more money we're able to pump into a project, or in some certain cases, depending on, if it's, as long as it's not a naked script, right? There's attachments to it. We could essentially do pre-funding as well. So it really depends on where the filmmaker's at in the journey, and so those are some of the things that we've been doing and staying busy with.
Oh, this isn't supposed to be how you make movies or whatever.
Yeah.
They probably don't understand how much the stuff that they already watch has that product placement kind of stuff in it. Like most of everything.
Yes. Yes.
You just don't, every time you see anything that's a product.
Right.
That otherwise would have been Greeked out.
Yep.
Like that was there for a purpose. That was there for a reason, unless it was a huge mistake or something. And they might, but it's like, oh, what a delicious Mountain Dew. Like that was paid for.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think the challenge is because I get it, because I'm a filmmaker too. I'm not just an ad guy, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want it to take away from the narrative, like it's like stuff like, oh, this isn't a wonderful Mountain Dew. Like that's silly. So what's cool is I think a lot of filmmakers try to do this stuff on their own, but they're not necessarily salesmen. They're not necessarily people that know how to talk to advertisers, because what happens is, you got a filmmaker that wants to raise money for their film. And then you have an advertiser that's willing to give them money, and they want that money, but that advertiser could turn their film into a commercial. Right, yeah. So a lot of times, a filmmaker will hire a company like us where we're kind of like the middleman. Like we work hand in hand. Like that filmmaker, that's a project that we're helping fund. The advertiser's our client, but we understand how to speak that language, right?
Yeah.
We understand how to work with the filmmaker to not take away from the advertiser, not take away from the narrative of the film and the creative of the film, but yet give enough advertising to our advertiser, right? To where they're happy with the result. Yeah.
It sounds like you just kind of live in both worlds.
Yep.
So you're able to communicate. And I mean, it's tough. Like if you're an upcoming filmmaker and you got this great idea for a movie and you're passionate about it, you don't want sticky fingers to get into kind of thing. I mean, I definitely get that part. But if nobody sees the movie, well, if the movie doesn't get made, nobody sees it.
Exactly.
So then does it exist?
Right. Exactly.
So learning to speak business is important, and it's tough, but it's important.
There's all different types of personalities. I mean, like if you're a writer and that's not your personality, and you don't hook up with a producer, hook up with somebody that does understand, the fun. Don't try to do it all yourself. I mean, that it breaks my heart when I see writers or any, filmmakers just trying to do everything. You don't need to do that. Like what you want to do is you want to surround yourself with people that have strengths that are not your strong suit. And that's how you make a project. A production is like a company, right? A company's made up of people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't have a successful company with one person. It's just not going to happen. It's the same thing with a production.
Yeah.
Having multiple talented people in their given areas of expertise, when everybody comes together, beautiful things happen, and that's when you actually have a real project. So, my advice to any filmmaker out there that's, just starting out that doesn't have that business sense, that's just the creative, hook up with somebody that understands the business sense that's going to get your movie made. Yeah.
I mean, find somebody you trust,
right?
To see the vision out, and it also says that you said about getting feedback and taking notes and understanding other points of view is helpful too. Because I mean, as a writer, I understand not wanting to get any feedback. Saying like, well, obviously the script is perfect the way I wrote it, so shut up. I definitely get that, but you can't really do that.
Yeah. No, and I think getting feedback from multiple sources is good too. Like I believe in, having almost like a council, right? So it's not just one person, that you're kind of taking it to. You get feedback from a group of people, right? Of people that you respect in the industry, right?
Yeah.
And then you start formulating your own opinion because everybody has their own opinion, right? They all suck, right? So it's like but if you're hearing the same thing over and over again from multiple sources, there's probably a reason.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So that's why I say listen to the audience, like with my stuff, like I'll listen to both good and bad and negative comments, right? Because I like to absorb that information and try to process it. But at the end of the day, you're still trying to accomplish something here, right? Whether you're a writer, you're a producer, you're an actor, whatever. Right. So take the advice, from multiple sources, but then and eventually formulate your own. Yeah. Based on that advice.
Yeah. And we've been talking on the show forever about people stepping up the game and getting real good stuff coming out of Georgia.
Right.
And it seems like the last year I've really been talking to people like you that are trying to do that. Yeah. And take things to a different level. But what do you, I talk to so many talented people that are trying to make stuff and I don't know. Like, do you have any advice on people? Cause you think everybody could do the product placement kind of thing, or like what's something people out there that are listening to this could do? Like, I've got this feature film and I just don't know how to put all the boards down to make the base to get this thing off the ground. Like, what, and you're doing it. So like what,
I mean, that's the biggest thing for all filmmakers, right? It's like, how do you get the money? That's where you go. I think, you have to, here's the thing with filmmaking, and there's a lot of creative people out there. Yeah. There's a lot of creative people out there, but, you got to also look at it from a business perspective too. If you're expecting to get somebody to give you money for your film, this is the traditional way of financing, right? Or traditional way of financing a film. If you're expecting that, well, that person's going to want a return.
Right. Yeah.
And you have to understand that you may love your projects of, flying wombats from the planet, Jupiter Part 2 or whatever, right? But that might not be selling right now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like it's the whatever. It's you got to look at it from the investor's point of view. How are they going to make their money back?
Yeah.
If you can answer those questions and the audience, you're one step ahead to get closer of having somebody give you their money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the pitfall with a lot of filmmakers is they're very passionate about their baby, their project, and they want to get it made, but you got to be realistic at the same time. And this has happened to me before too. I mean, there's productions, there's things that, I've had that, I've went to a production company and they're like, this is great. It's just the market's not right yet.
Yeah.
And that's not a no. It's just not now. And I think, if you want to do a passion project, that's great. Just don't take somebody else's money. If there's no way of getting a return.
Yeah.
Passion projects are fine if you got a means of financing, but you also got to let people know that that's what this is. You may not receive any type of return on this film.
Yeah.
It might just be people gifting you money because they see your love for filmmaking. So I would encourage specifically that, because there are some investors that have gotten burned. And what it does is it makes it harder for everybody else to try to get that funding, because once they lose tons of money, they're like, I'll never invest in film again. And it's all because, they were just misled and there was miscommunication between the filmmaker and the investors.
Yeah. And there's always those stories about funny money, Hollywood funny money, and just like, whatever Harry Potter, whatever, has never made a profit or whatever, that kind of stuff. That's not what any of us are trying to do here.
Right. No.
We don't care. We're not going. Yeah. I can't speak for everybody, but I assume people just want to make their stuff.
Right.
And get everybody happy in the end. Like, that's all we care about. And just make our stuff.
Right.
So yeah, that does make things harder when you have those stories floating around, and it sounds simplistic, but like just connecting the Richie Rich people with the super creative people and get them together in a room and then they figure everything out and then make stuff and everybody's happy. Like
I think the biggest thing for here in Atlanta is just education. You know? I think it's education on both parts, is educating the investor, and then also and educating the filmmaker, and then bring them together. I think that's the biggest piece that we need to continue to grow as an industry here, as a permanent industry, is once these local investors understand how it's being made, the filmmakers understand that they're making a film for a return for their investor. I think that's gonna whatever happens with our tax credits, who knows? I mean, whether it stays or whether it goes, we don't know. But if we build the infrastructure here, everybody's jobs are safe. And I think that's the biggest thing, is it all starts with education. So I'm a big proponent on trying to help educate, filmmakers and investors in this whole process.
I think I've told the story on here before, but there's a story of the the producers of Napoleon Dynamite when they had the script and they were going to meet an investor, and they gave him the script to look at. And he flipped through it to make sure there were words on the page, and then he put it down and was like, "All right, so how's this going to make me money?"
Right?
Because sure, there's a thing here, and I acknowledge that exists, but what I care about is tell me how
exactly,
why are people going to watch this,
right?
And how am I going to get my money back,
right?
And I know it's difficult to get your head around, but it's just like you said, like different languages almost.
Yep.
How you speak to each other,
right?
And come to a mutual understanding.
Right. And it's the same thing even with product placement. Like, I have advertisers, they know that we do this. Yeah. But the number one question they're going to ask me is, all right, because it's different. This is not investment money. This is advertising dollars. So it's different. But they kind of have the same thing. Like, if, like with an investor, they're going to want to know, all right, who's attached? Where's it going to be seen? Like, what's the distribution, right? Well, with advertisers, there's really no different. Who's attached? Where's my product going to be seen? Because for them, it's exposure, right? So, I mean, I get some questions and people are like, oh, well, yeah, we can fund my short. It's like, okay, you want Coca-Cola to fund your short? I was like, where's it going to be seen? Like, what's the ROI? It's like, so those are the things that I think that filmmakers need to understand. There's avenues out there. Just educate yourself first. Try to think a little bit more like a business person would, or if somebody giving you money, and start there. And again, if you're totally not business and you're totally creative, got to hook up with a producer that is business minded. That's gonna help you take your project to the next level. Yeah.
So I guess walk me through, like say you go to meet Coca-Cola about a feature film, and they want to put it in there in the movie somewhere. Like, how does that usually work? Like the negotiations, I guess. Like, you got to have this much screen time. It's got to be someone can't take a sip and be like, yuck, that's gross. They have to be like, yum, 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 Coke.
Exactly.
Like, kind of walk me through that process.
So yeah, I mean, every production is different. And depending on what type of production we're working on, deals are structured in all different ways. But yeah, there is a lot of that with bigger companies. There's a lot of that because they want to know to the frame, sometimes of how long their product is going to be seen. So there's a lot of that too. So that's another thing. If you are a filmmaker that's just starting out, that actually does have that opportunity, be prepared, because these are some of the questions that are going to be asked. And you have to. There are some things like, you can't say yuck, or the actor can't make a face when they drink it, right? I mean, or something like that. So there's certain things also, like licensing stuff between the production and the brand. There's those opportunities as well, where there's cross promotion. So a young filmmaker that doesn't have that experience might be a little bit challenging to navigate some of those deals, right? So the licensing deals between the brand and the film. So that they would also hire, a company like ours where we would go and we would help kind of navigate that for them.
Okay. Tell me more about your esports series. I'm interested in that.
So we are in pre-production right now. I'm under NDA, so I can't even talk. No. I know a lot of people. I did leak a little bit out, but yeah, we've got contracts going around right now, so I can't really talk too much about it. But it's pretty exciting. It has to do with esports, but yeah, it's for me as a filmmaker, I look, and this is on the reality side. So I love doing narratives. I mean, that's my heart and soul. Like my passion is doing a lot more narratives. But when it comes to reality, I like a big thing. I either like either a controversial subject or something that is innovative and new and fresh and exciting, like the next big thing.
Yeah.
So like controversial, I did a show called Insurance Wars, right?
Okay.
Which was basically uncovering the corruption in insurance companies through a public adjuster, and we wrote a show around his business. And it was very, very controversial, but it was cool, and we had millions of views, and
nice.
His business exploded because of it. So did that, and then of course, well, with the esports thing, it's the next big thing. So we've been working on that. So yeah, I'm excited. I mean, that's on the reality side.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, when we first started our series, we felt like we were at the cusp of everything. And we went to a bunch of...
What's the name of it?
More Than a Game.
Okay.
Came out on U42.
Okay. Oh, yeah. U42, yeah. Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're up in the Cumming area.
Yep.
Nice people.
Yep.
We went to a bunch of different companies, and they already had esports, or we're already developing an esports thing. I'm like, oh.
Interesting.
Okay, we really are on the cusp of everything, because literally everybody that we talked to was like, no, we're kind of already doing that.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. All right. So then we just, luckily we ran into U42.
So the production?
Yeah.
On the production side? Yeah.
Yeah. And just learning, like the game that we followed was Smite, which is,
yes, I know Todd Harris very well.
Okay. Yeah. And I've been playing video games my entire life. And even I was just like, I don't really understand this game. But the more we watched it or whatever, and just seeing these people. And then we went to DreamHack to film there. Yeah. And just the crowds and stuff. I was like, where was this when I was a kid, man? Yeah. This is crazy.
Yeah.
This would have been me when I was a kid. If time travel or whatever, I would have been doing this.
So when were you filming?
Unbelievable.
Did you just rap or?
We filmed in November.
Okay.
Last November, there was one weekend where we filmed basically the kid named Connor, Jigs, who plays Smite. We filmed his life and stuff, and we'd filmed earlier in the year.
So it was based on just him.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. It was just him, and
cool.
it was. We kind of dove deep, because a lot of the shows that I've watched about esports is like, isn't this neat? This person plays video games,
right?
Like, yes, but what else?
Right.
Like, let's go a little bit deeper. So we try to do that. Like, what does he do? Like the rest of the day?
Yeah.
Like, what are his parents like? So we we went to his parents' house, talked to his grandmother and stuff.
Yeah.
He went on a date and whatever, and so it was a little bit, and then we filmed at DreamHack, and that was a lot of fun.
So do you know Todd Harris and all the guys over at High Res?
I talked to so many people at High Res like we developed it over 2 years, and from pitch to launch was 2 years. So I talked to Todd over email. I don't think I ever actually met him in person. Yeah. But there was a bunch of people that ran the actual league and stuff, and it seemed like every time I went up there was somebody else. I was like, oh, I'm Chuck, blah blah blah. Yeah. So I talked to so many people at High Res.
Yeah. DreamHack, we were there too. DreamHack. Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah. It was just nuts. So that was
excitement. It's just amazing. Like people would never think, like, really, I mean, would you ever imagine, like, 15 years ago, when our video games would be like this today? Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like,
yeah.
Really? Like, when I tell people how much money some of these kids earn just by playing video games, like, their mind just blows.
Yeah, through sponsorships, and like branding. So I mean, it all comes back to
the brand. Yeah, all about the brand, baby. That's what it's about.
Yeah, because our guy, he was pretty good for a while. Jigs was, and being on good teams and stuff. It kind of dips and goes up and down.
How did you meet him?
He was recommended to us by High Res. They had a list. And he was in Atlanta, and he answered our email.
Oh, got it.
So we were like, hey, he's local, so we don't have to travel, so perfect.
Right.
And then he ended up being a really nice kid, and his parents are great. So everything worked out.
So you wrote what, like just kind of like an outline or something like that?
Which ended up like the outline that we submitted to U42 was absolutely nothing like the final product because it's a docuseries, and you can't plan for everything.
Right.
Like the girl that he was dating at the time was going to be featured heavily. We were going to travel to her home state, and they broke up before we filmed. Oh boy!
Welcome to the real world and production.
I was like, Connor, can you just
stay with her?
Just pretend for another month. But no. But I learned a lot because I'm a screenwriter. Right. But I was producing this thing. Yeah. And it was funny, just the different muscles I was being pulled, and it ended up being kind of fun. I didn't think I was gonna, like you said, try different positions, whatever. I never knew that, I was like, well, this is just different. It's not, I don't know if it's quite as satisfying as screenwriting to me. Right. But, going to production, getting the footage we needed, everybody's fed, everybody's happy, nobody died. Yeah, right. Nobody broke anything or like cameras or whatever. Right. I don't know. It's just a different set of muscles, and it's kind of fun. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely going to keep you on your toes. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and we're supposed to go up to Washington to film a comedy special later this month. Oh, cool. So yeah, my co-producer and I that did More Than a Game, we started a company in Hootie Hoo Productions because we went to Kennesaw State. There you go. Yep. We met each other there. Yeah, so we work a lot with KSU. Yeah. We filmed part of More Than a Game on campus, and it's a beautiful campus now. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, what are some of the projects you've got in the works that you can talk about? No NDA stuff, but other than that, so we have the esports show. Like I said, there is we're working on our 2019 slate right now. Okay. So we're looking. I can't really say the projects. Other than maybe just the genres, but I'm working on a drama, working on a comedy horror. Okay. And then there's another project where it's a toss up. We may actually take on an action film because when you do a slate of films, what you're doing is you're mitigating risk. Right. So we're kind of looking at a couple of those projects, and it's funny. I usually say like 2 TV shows and a movie, or 2 movies and a TV show every single year is the minimum that we want to do. So we've been pretty fortunate. We just wrapped on Voices, so we're in post right now. Nice. So we're looking at probably around the December release date. So as that's releasing, we'll be on production on our next film. So that's a good question. What I say to myself. What's the distribution you have in mind when you approach like a company for branding and stuff, like to make sure it's seen? We talk about distribution a lot, like you got to have that in the back of your head, but you really have to have that in the back of your head because you're talking to these companies like, yes, obviously our film will be seen in your Coca-Cola or Home Depot or whatever, or headphones. Right. Like how does that change the approach to the film? Do you think? Well, it does come down to like distribution. So, if we're producing a film and a lot of times, we'll have our cast and we'll have our distributions. We already have that in line. It's like, okay, well, this is our distributor. And a lot of times we'll work with known distributors hey, they also did this, this, and this. It was seen in this many screens, or we may even just have that already fleshed out. So it's like, all right, this is where this project's going to be. Yeah. And then here's our strategy. And a lot of times there's digital strategies and stuff like that afterwards. Like, so after, the release date and stuff like that. And they know the difference with being in a movie, right, as opposed to just airing a commercial is you're ingrained in the narrative. Like you're ingrained, you're solidified in that movie. So if that movie turns into a cult following and like your product's in there, like, if you calculate the cost that you would have to pay to air a commercial to get that much exposure, it far outweighs the cost of doing product placement. Oh yeah. Even though product placement, could get up there in the numbers depending on, again, who's in it, where it's going, and the exposure, but that chance that some there's some movies like, that you just know, like if I say E.T.,
what candy company do you think of?
Yeah, Reese's Pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like you're never going to get that. I mean, that's one thing. So you're ingrained in forever, and it's a classic. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's those films that the advertiser realizes that if this does take off, even if it's a small cult following, it doesn't matter. Like your brand is getting exposure that it would never get. With just having a 30-second spot, which most people nowadays, let's face it, they're skipping through it.
Yeah.
No one's sitting down watching a commercial unless it's the Super Bowl.
Right, yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's really what it's boiled down to. The world, the whole industry and the world has changed.
Yeah.
To where, with streaming content and stuff like that too. I mean, if you're running a commercial, I mean, everybody's waiting for that skip now button to mash it to get to their content. Yeah. But if you're ingrained in the content, the people are going to see your product. It works.
Of course, the opposite of that is talking about E.T. and Reese's Pieces, which worked out great and was ingrained into the narrative. The inverse of that is Mac and Me, which the people that made that were like, oh, we want to do that. So they McDonald's.
Right.
So then it became basically an hour-and-a-half commercial that is now made fun by Paul Rudd every time he goes on to Conan.
Right.
So yeah, there is something to be careful. Yes. Like you can't. The story comes first,
yes,
and then
on the flip side, so that's why advertisers, like if they want branded entertainment, branded content, they would also come to us too because we're filmmakers.
Yeah.
So we understand that. Like all my guys are film guys, right? So they understand that. So you can have a entire movie sponsored by or paid for by Pirelli, and the only thing that you're showing is the car chases, and then it pulls up with the tires or something. I'm just throwing out a crazy example that I'm thinking of, right? Or like if I say Castaway, FedEx, right? That's right. FedEx paid for a majority of that movie. It's like, but the cool thing, and a lot of people will challenge that and say, well, the plane went down, but if you watch all the way to the end of the movie, the package got to it where it needed to go, and that tells the story of FedEx. But it told a great story. It told a great story.
That's right. Well, as we wrap up, tell everybody where to find info about you and the company.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on social media. You find me at Chris DeBlasio. Our company is Agency 850, so it's agency850.com. And that's, we're an entertainment marketing company, so we do all those things that I mentioned before, and I work personally as an EP. And any advice, hashtag Pitch Chris, if you guys have questions on the entertainment business, find me at hashtag Pitch Chris. Ask your questions. I can get you on the air, get you an IMDb credit if you're just starting out in the business. A lot of people can just ask me your questions. I'll be more happy to answer all of them.
That's really cool you do that, by the way, just giving back a little bit and helping, lifting all tides or whatever.
My biggest thing is we band together as filmmakers, specifically here in Atlanta. Like, man, nothing's gonna rock us, Like I think we're poised for a lot of growth. There's a lot of great things going out here. HBO is moving here. Their headquarters is moving. I mean, it's like there's big things. A lot of jobs are happening here, and I just want to make sure that everybody's prepared for the opportunities that are coming here. So if there's any way I can give back or any advice I can give filmmakers, it's my pleasure to do so.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for coming on today, and it was great finally meeting you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is awesome.
So good luck with everything, and everybody go check out Agency 850, and thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.